You may get picked on, you may get bullied with everybody, but you sit back and exactly what you said. I sat back and watched my dad. Definitely don't want to do that. My mom, my brother, whoever it may be. I sat back and I paid attention to everything around me. And it was the ultimate blueprint to how to live life. How not to live life is I watched people do, and I said, I don't want to be like that. I know where you are. I know where, because I've been there. That's why I helped so many people out. I've never been above you. I've always pretty much been beneath you, and that's where my knowledge came from. So I know how to reach those people who are in the dungeon because I've been there so many times. I call it part-time savage. I started kind of going through this. I started getting, a little bit injuries, a little bit of this, a little bit, things that back in the day never slowed me down. When I got my head out of my ass and realized that, hey, we have more left, we can still push harder, we're not there yet. I realized, talking to a guy named Cameron Haynes, who did this race, 240-mile race. And is this the new level? Is this the new push? So when I decided to do that race, it was in the back of my mind like, man, I've really become an expert at running 100-mile races. So for me, this was the new level, the 200-plus mile race. And what was so amazing about that, as you probably read in the book, I had a hard time the first time doing it. I came back and did better, but what's amazing about the human mind is that it becomes your new norm. Like, to think that I can run 200 miles, 240 miles, and that becomes like running 50. I never thought that was possible. This is why I'm always pushing that limit, because I know that within pushing these limits, there's always more. So I end up doing almost like back-to-back 200-mile runs. When the 200-mile race, 240-mile race was hard at once, it became something that was very easy after I figured it out. All those miles I've run on this thing, it's been a lot of it's been a lot of gut checks, because when you get to 70 miles of a race and you felt the way I did,
200.
To me it was humanly impossible to even think about going 30 more miles in that shape. And once you do it, what came over me when that shower hit me, and the reality hit that I just went 101 miles. And that last 31 miles was something that I can't even describe to people. And she's like, we gotta get you to the hospital. So at the time, my mom was seeing this doctor, and he was like, so she's describing to my mom what I'm going through. He's like, you gotta get in the hospital now. And I just said, just shut up and let me enjoy this pain. I don't want anything to numb it. I don't want anything right now. Because what I had done was I just, in my mind, and people will take this wrong and take it as wrong as you want to, I don't really care. I had just climbed a mental wall that was amazing. And I didn't want anybody to take that pain away from me at that point, because that was all confirmation. I never wanted to feel it again. I never wanted to feel it again. But what it did was it showed me what is possible. And that's what set the new stage for me. That's when I realized, oh man, I've really been underachieving my entire life. I'm not saying that you have to go to that place, because that place is a dangerous, dangerous place that you don't want to go there. But it taught me what is possible. So from that 19-hour lesson, one of the biggest lessons I had in my life, it taught me like, okay, I got it, check. As you get bigger, as you get more successful, you open the door for people to critique everything you do. And most of the people who are critiquing you usually aren't where you are. And all their critiquing comes from people who are really at a low level of life, which is sad. But what we do, people who are on the upper level, hearing the haters at the lower level, like I said, you'll never meet a hater doing better than you. True statement. I started having fun with it. So I'll go through the comments, while most people don't go through comments, I go through them intentionally, look for the bad ones. And while I'll block and delete you because the people on my page don't need that negative energy, I'll block and delete you, but I take a snapshot on my phone and I put it in the archive. So what happens is, there's days where I'm like, you know what? I really don't want to do this today. And I'm like, oh, hang on. So I started making these mixtapes with all of these hate messages about people talking and it became such a source of fuel that it was amazing because I know why you hate me.
Using this
You hate me
dude
because you're probably in
as
the
a way
bed
to
right now.
free
You're
gambling
probably an
is
underachiever.
fucking
You're
unbelievable.
probably somebody who doesn't
bro. It's working.
want to do
I won. I
anything
did
with
meet
your
450,
life.
bro.
So I make you question everything about
Even
yourself.
now I go to the
So I'm going to
to the fucking
continue
gas
making
station
you
and I buy
question
a fucking
yourself
lottery ticket.
by coming out here and being even
I'm
more
not allowed to. I
successful.
don't think you're
So
allowed.
I listen to that while I
Oh
run.
yeah, you gotta be 21.
I sometimes played in the house, and it sometimes gets on Jennifer's nerves. I'm sitting and listening to somebody talk mad on a loop about me, and she's like, "Why do you do this?" It's half comical, and it's half inspiring. I'm actually inspired by it. People don't understand.
500,
This wasn't like a
You don't know me.
part-time job, man. When you've done without, like Kobe Bryant, when Kobe retired that last game, he had like 60 points, walked off the court. He didn't cry. He said, "Oh my God, I'm gonna miss the sport." He walked off. He gave everything he could. Man, when you give what I've given everything. People make, oh, you ran off up knees, you taped your feet up, you did blah blah. You had 2 heart surgeries, you kept on going, which makes me who I am. David Goggins is an introverted, soft kid that got beat up growing up and had to lie to create friends, to get friends, to be accepted.
200.
My life has really been about 2 people. I had to invent a whole other human being to get outside of my comfort zone. And that human being became Goggins. It took a while to get to that point where enough was enough. And I had to make a change in my life. You know, I was at an all-time low and I wasn't going anywhere. And I was exactly what everybody said I was gonna be, which was nothing. So I had to make a change. Goggins is like the guy that walks out of the phone booth. He's like that Superman that walks out of the phone booth. It's kind of strange how sometimes I have a conversation between David Goggins, and Goggins will tell David Goggins about he's done. And David Goggins like, what the hell, man? Why are you doing that? That's nuts. It's kind of this battle between trying to find more of yourself, knowing that the real you is afraid, likes comfort, likes living in a world that likes to pat you on the back, give you the things that you want to hear, not the things that you have to hear to get better. That's where all this kind of started from. And when people hear this podcast, they're going to definitely want to put a title on me to make themselves feel better. Basically, what you're doing is you're giving yourself a get out of jail free card. So all you're doing is saying, this guy was some super freak. He found some super thing in his brain that was locked up. He unleashed it and became this guy. Because every day I wake up, I dread the day. I dread the day of what I'm going to bring on myself to get better. It happened when I could never get over the hump. I kept on feeling like I was getting over the hump. And then one little windstorm, small little windstorm would come by and push me back to scratch. It's like, why? Why am I not, I'm learning how to read now. I was a junior in high school and couldn't read that well, a 4th grade reading level, because I would cheat on everything. And I learned how to read, I learned how to write. I taught myself all these things, all these disciplines. But whenever the first real big challenge would come, that little windstorm would push me back in the hole. And I realized, man, I'm fixing stuff on a surface level. I'm all surface, man. I'm not going deep into the cellar of my mind and fixing the foundation of my soul. My soul is broken. But, I knew I could fix it, but I was afraid to go back. I was afraid to face the demons of my life because you start lying. You want anybody knowing this about you. So you start lying about who you're not and start creating a person about who you want to be, but that's not who you are. So that's when I started realizing, man, I'm never going to get over the hurdle. I'm always going to live on a surface level until I go deep into the sewer of my mind to figure out and face all of these different demons.
1,100.
That's hard. It's hard. We all like social media. We all like everybody to see us for who we want to be. That's why we post beautiful things about us. That's not going to fix you. The most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. You wake up with it, you walk around with it, eventually you'll act on it. And my self-talk was the most disgusting self-talk of all time. So the sewer of my mind, like I said, you have to go back in there and fix things. A lot of us are afraid. Like right now, 20 years ago, you wouldn't find me on this show. I was too embarrassed to tell you I stuttered, I lied, all these different things, getting beat up, getting bullied, whatever happened. But that's where the true transformation starts to happen. When you can look at people, anybody, thousands of people, one person and say, hey, this is who I am. And this is where I have to fix myself. And this is where it really happened. You know, people call me dumb. My dad called me so many things, not even funny. Being beat just stripped me of all self-esteem. This is when I realized I was alone on this earth. I have God alone on this earth. I have to fix everything. So this is where I started to develop an indestructible mental toolbox. I looked in this one guy's eyes who was ringing the bell to quit, to put his helmet down out of Navy SEAL training, and I saw myself. And I saw what everybody said I was gonna be, which was nothing. What I said I was gonna be, that conversation you have, that's who I was. So that's why I lied to people to tell them a different version of the truth. I had to make all those lies reality. I had to make them real. I had to become a real person. So that's when I put in my mind that I'm gonna go to the toughest military training on the planet, where it has the most water, the thing I was scared of the most. So a lot of us run away from our fears. And we box ourselves in to a lifestyle of this is all we can do. Because I'm afraid of everything outside this box. So I'm comfortable inside this box. I jumped the box. Everything I didn't want to do is what got me to where I'm at today. It's about what you're saying to yourself, but it also comes with work. So whenever I was getting beat down, physically, mentally, spiritually, whatever I was going through, just saying, you can't hurt me. I had this haunting voice in the back of my head. A lot of us have it. We just ignore it. And it was there for years. So I knew in the back of my mind that I could pull off this whatever. Whatever I wanted, I knew I could. I knew that, but I was afraid of the work because I wasn't gifted with brains. I wasn't gifted with God-given talent as far as like athleticism. So I knew to get to where I had to go, to be on the same playing field as these men, to even try out for this program, I knew the work was gonna be something that I didn't wanna even attack. So I would just put it off. It haunted me. That's what I realized for myself was I wanted that comfort zone that everybody looks for, that pat on the back. They don't want to hear all the bad. They want to hear everything that they're doing right. And I realized that's what kept me in this world. 50. That's what kept me in this world of not accomplishing anything. What I did was I became that big, bad, nasty that you don't want to walk into at nighttime. I became the roughest critic in the world on myself. And that's what changed me. I stopped caring about people, that what they thought, being judged. Wow, if I say this, if I started right now, are you gonna make fun of me? I stopped caring about that. And that's when my life started really changing for me, slowly but surely. Or situations that have wronged me. Because once you come to a place where you are really happy with who you are in life, no one f***s with you anymore. Even though they're f***ing with you,
it doesn't
f*** with you. What do you want in your life? We have so much influence coming at us that we are so lost. We don't know what we want to do because we don't spend enough time with ourselves. Greatness is whatever the hell you dreamed of in your own mind. You gotta first see it. You gotta first create this vision in your mind. Once you create this vision in your mind, it's how am I gonna get there? But you've got to go inside yourself to find it. And that means you gotta be quiet. Shut the fuck up, go in a room, stop talking, search your soul, search your mind, search your abilities, and you'll find it. But if you're not looking for it, you won't find it. So you gotta go start your journey. And the journey starts with you finding, why the hell am I here on this planet Earth? Why am I here? And if you don't know that, you will live the rest of your life searching, always asking the question, why? I'm waking up and I'm giving myself all this armor. So when I come out in the world, and I look at that phone, I'm ready. I'm not waking up late. I'm not rushing around. I'm not disorganized. because I know I'm gonna get hit in the mouth. There's an art to getting hit in the mouth, and that is why these things are important. You have to wake up and you have to give yourself belief. You have to give yourself confidence. So it starts with that run.
Okay.
Anywhere from about 1:30 to 2 hours, I run every day. So that's
So you're
that.
fasted on the morning.
Yes.
Up, straight out.
Straight out.
90 minutes to 2 hours of running. Back.
Yep.
Eat.
And I'm in the gym. So, and then after that, to whatever's on the plan for the day. That's how that works every day.
That's your day. There is no room for anything else.
Yeah, there is a lot of room. So there's
Okay.
24 hours, and I use it all pretty well. That's why I got a cap success, because I can't put that in, and that's my growth factor. So that's my human growth factor. And some of these motivational people out here, it's the funniest thing in the world to me. They'll go and say, when you wake up in the morning, pound your chest, look at yourself in the mirror, and do all this fucking bullshit. I hope it works. What works for me is that everyday resume, the things I know I've accomplished, the things I know I've done, real hard work, the real calluses on my mind, the real calluses on my hands. That's it. You don't need to pound your chest in the mirror anymore if you have that. A lot of it is limited horizons. Limited horizons are like, I use me as an example always. I came from a small town in Indiana where there was a handful of black families. And a lot of people in that town, when you come from a town of 8,000 people, it's like we had a local plant, Great Dane. And you're like, you know what? I want to work at Great Dane and get a house next to my mom. That's what you know. So many of us come from these small places in our mind that we're not willing to think outside of only what we've seen. Our mind works in such a small compartment. And one thing I was able to do was to dream. Many people, but don't make dreams your master. But I was able to dream outside those four walls of that small town. And until you're able to really put yourself into that dream, but don't make dreams your master, that's where you truly become what you're destined to become. A lot of people sit back and they dream about being a sports figure, or dream about being a CEO, or dream about being an astronaut, and all it is a dream. They don't put the work behind the dream. That dream has become their master. When you become the master of your dream is when you say, I want to go be a Navy SEAL, and you say, okay, I'm gonna lose 106 pounds in less than 3 months. The dream was the one thing I thought about, and the dream was now gone. Now, what comes in, the dream goes away, and the laundry list of details and tasks come up. Gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this, gotta do this. That's when you become the master of your dream. So, a lot of people out there dreaming. But guess what happens? That alarm clock goes off at 4 a.m. to train. We count on people too much to get us through shit. And we look to our right, we look to our left, we're looking for help. And if you can build that self, you can build that total accountability in oneself. And it's not about being selfish. I'm trying to create a better me. So hopefully people who are hearing this are taking it the right way, can say, I can run a mile. It ain't about running 205 miles. It doesn't matter. I want you to see how far you can go. The biggest trophy I own now is that book. The biggest trophy I own now is not the book itself, it's what's in the book. It's what, like, I don't give a if that sells one copy. Honest to God, man. What I did, and that's what I hope people understand. Your life and the journey you put yourself through, there's nothing more than that. And that's all I want people to do is realize that you have to struggle. You have to struggle. The bigger the struggle, the bigger the peace. The bigger the suffering, the more peace. So a lot of this isn't your fault, why you do some things you do, why you feel the way you feel. But no one's coming back to save your ass. You have to go back to where the started, wherever that place is for everybody, and have the courage to go back there and start fixing what broke you. And that's when I was like, hey, I'm f***ed up. I'm gonna go back and fix this. And I know how to self-motivate. A lot of them don't know how to self-motivate, man. Like, we like to put the headphones on, like before the big game, and listen to the music. What the f did you do when the headphones come off, bro? It's you in your own mind. I know how to do that. That's the hard part,
Do you
man.
ever listen to music when you run?
Never. I wanted you to go home that night after you the living shit out of me, and I smiled in your face. I wanted you to feel worse than I did.
Shit.
And you were going home to
Tony,
a
up
nice
now.
warm
Tony,
bed,
open
and
here.
I was
Tony,
still
open
out
here.
there in the grit, suffering for another 100 hours. I wanted you to think about me, knowing that I'm comfortable, being very uncomfortable. And I want you to think about when you went through, I'm afraid of this, I'm up here, life made me this way here, I stutter, I have these issues with reading and writing, and I'm fat and I'm insecure. We can't live like this. We can't live in fear. We can't live in judgment. We can't be afraid of what people right now are looking at me saying about me. We cannot be afraid of that. My reading, my learning, my workouts, my diet. You start neglecting all of that. You neglect one of them. You can neglect all of them.
I know it is, bro.
It's
I'm
gonna
telling
hurt
you, man. Ever since I put there, I'm not
When you
giving up,
start
bro.
seeing that, my
I'm
guy,
up so much right now. I'm up so much.
haven't been sleep right now. It can only be one of those things to take you off. I'm very aware of
I'm not stopping until I get
eating,
10K
my
though.
sleeping,
We're going.
my disciplines of life. If I start to get too far away from them, it's a hard stop. And the only thing that gets me mad nowadays is that so many people die with untapped potential because they think that someone else is better than them. And they were born not with the greatest tools. You need the ability to grind your ass into a fine powder. And when you're in that fine powder, find a way to build that motherfucker back up repeatedly. And it's possible. I was always trying to do it because I knew I suck. And so when you know you're trying to get somewhere, you know you suck, you know that you believe that you're a born loser, you are taking snapshots, man. Like, you know, you see something on your phone, like, oh man, I'm gonna take a snapshot of that. I do that in my mind. So I get in these moments where I'm like, okay, wow, that's good knowledge right there, man. I snapshot it because I know that I can use that later. I can use this because I'm not out there most people, they go out and they run and they go out and do, and they're like, oh, this is beautiful. Look at mountains. And no, I don't like it. My body hurts. I'm hurting. How do we get through this? It's a lab. It's my mental lab. And so when I come home, I'm not forgetting it. And the second, like every day I get done running, or every day I get through working, or every day I get through studying, whatever it is that brings me to that place of knowledge, I come home and that book was mostly written on a scratch piece of paper in hand. So I come home from running and I write everything out. I write everything out, all those things. And as I'm running, I'm talking about it. So all these things that pop in my head as I continue to run, I'm going through it. I'm starting to layer it down. I'm starting to break it down into, okay, that happened. Okay, now let's layer this. Because that's just not how it happened. It just didn't happen that way. What led up to this? And so it becomes me by myself in school. I'm literally going to school right now and I'm learning. So when I come home, I write it out. And then I'm able to write out and I'm able to think about it. Say, okay, oh, this is good. This will help me later on. And then it becomes what it is now. I did a lot outside the military. I've made money. I've done almost every race out there, hard race in the world. I've broken pull-up records. I've done a lot of. So when these bad times come, and also not only that, like work your ass off so you can enjoy. Yeah, you're taking a shot. You know, you may not live to be old, but what if you do? And you worked your ass off and you were able, and you were able to get up early, able to grind. If you front load it properly, the back half of your fucking life is money. And that's what I did. So basically, I don't take any days off as far as working out. First thing in the morning time is you have to build your confidence. And every day you're constantly gaining and losing confidence. You're never staying the same. So how you build your confidence is if you like what you see in that mirror, that's how you start your day off. If you wake up and you look fat, you look out of shape, you're not feel good, which is, you know, or you don't feel good inside. So my whole big thing is get up and work out, shed some calories, get the adrenals going, get the mind going, get all that going. Every day I run, every day I work out. A lot of people, what they do is they have these finish lines. And I have a saying that says, I don't stop when I'm tired, I stop when I'm done. When I was younger, I didn't have any goals. It's not really so much about goals, it's just to-do list, a to-do list. And as a human being, if you don't have a to-do list, you're gonna sit back and just fade away. Your brain is the most powerful weapon in the world. If you can't control your own brain, you gotta tell your brain where you wanna go and how you wanna go and how you wanna get there. You gotta control it. If not, it's over. A good human being, a fulfilled human being, doesn't need to break anyone down. All they do is want to build you up. So anybody you meet that calls you out of your name, that bullies you, that messes you up, that makes you feel not lifted, they are dealing with something deep rooted. When you quit, your mind says we're done. So it doesn't expand. There's no expansion when you quit. When you say, this sucks, I'm drowning, I'm miserable, I'm suffering, I'm broken, but I'm not going anywhere. What happens to your mind, it says, he's not leaving. So we gotta expand, we gotta grow, we gotta figure this thing out. So then these compartments in your brain, they have to work. And then you start to engage parts of your mind that you never engaged before. When you're in suffer mode and you say, I'm not gonna quit. You're forcing your brain now to operate on a level it's not used to. But then it becomes used to. The only way anything gets accomplished, you gotta work hard. I can't remember what's in this paragraph to pass this test to get in the military. Read it again. Still not getting it. Read it again. But if you're not getting it, write it out. And guess what happened? I got it. I can't swim. I'm negative buoyant. Go back again. I can't swim. Go back again. Go back again. Go back again. I got it. I realized if I keep going back and going back and going back, your mind will say, okay, we're gonna figure it out, because he is not going to stop. The mind always has the tactical advantage over you. Why is that? It knows your fears. It knows your insecurities. It knows where they're hiding. We count on people too much to get us through and we look to our right, we look to our left, we're looking for help. And if you can build that self, you can build that total accountability in oneself. And it's not about being selfish. I'm trying to create a better me. So hopefully people who are hearing this are taking it the right way, can say, I can run a mile. It ain't about running 205 miles. It doesn't matter. I want you to see how far you can go. The biggest trophy I own now is that book. The biggest trophy I own now is not the book itself, it's what's in the book. It's what, like, I don't give a fuck if that sells one copy. Honest to God, man. What I did, and that's what I hope people understand, your life and the journey you put yourself through, there's nothing more than that. And that's all I want people to do, is realize that you have to struggle. You have to struggle. The bigger the struggle, the bigger the peace. The bigger the suffering, the more peace. So a lot of this isn't your fault, why you do some things you do, why you feel the way you feel. But no one's coming back to save your ass. You have to go back to where it started, wherever that place is for everybody, and have the courage to go back there and start fixing what broke you. And that's when I was like, hey, I'm f***ed up, I'm gonna go back and fix this. And I know how to self-motivate. A lot of them don't know how to self-motivate, man. Like, we like to put the headphones on, like before the big game, and listen to the music. What the f did you do when the headphones come off, bro? It's you in your own mind. I know how to do that. That's the hard part, man.
Do you ever listen to music when you run?
Never. I wanted you to go home that night after the living shit out of me, and I smiled in your face. I wanted you to feel worse than I did, and you were going home to a nice warm bed, and I was still out there in the grit, suffering for another 100 hours. I wanted you to think about me, knowing that I'm comfortable, being very unfucking comfortable. And I want you to think about when you went through, I'm afraid of this, I'm up here, life made me this way here, I stutter, I have these issues with reading and writing, and I'm fat and I'm insecure. We can't live like this. We can't live in fear. We can't live in judgment. We can't be afraid of what people right now are looking at me saying about me. We cannot be afraid of that. My reading, my learning, my workouts, my diet. When you start neglecting all of that, you neglect one of them, you can neglect all of them a long time. It's gonna haunt you. When you start seeing that, my God, I haven't eaten right in a long time, haven't been sleeping right in a long time, it can only be one of those things to take you off. I'm very aware of my eating, my sleeping, my disciplines of life. And when I started to get too far away from them, it's a hard stop. And the only thing that gets me mad nowadays is that so many people die with untapped potential because they think that someone else is better than them. And they were born not with the greatest tools. You need the ability to grind your ass into a fine powder. And when you're in that fine powder, find a way to build that motherfucker back up repeatedly. And it's possible. The one thing that made me who I am today is being vulnerable. It's breaking myself down to the absolute rock bottom and being able to tell people who I am. And that's how I fixed it. Literally, look somebody in the eye and say, you know what, man? I have a whole bunch of character problems, character flaws. I've lied about this. I've cheated here. I'm insecure here. This isn't the real me. I lied to you about that. I wanted your acceptance in life. All those things happen, but the thing about it is that we get judged so quickly by who we are. We don't know. We don't go to where it happened. Life created this person, me. And I had to realize, man, that's okay, man. It's not my fault. Now I gotta go back and fix it though. So a lot of this isn't your fault, why you do some things you do, why you feel the way you feel. But no one's coming back to save your ass. You have to go back to where they started, wherever that place is for everybody, and have the courage to go back there and start fixing what broke you. It's not addictive at all, because you don't want to live there, but it's definitely a place that makes you look at people very differently. Because once you see, if I was born with a silver spoon and everything was given to me and life came easy, but knowing where I came from and where I'm at now, just because I was able to crack open a few more doors, that's what's disappointing for me, for other people. So it's not that I want to live there, I know I can go there. And once again, I know other people can go there. So I guess that's the thing with me, is I know I have the ability now to go to a place that's very, very hyper-focused, that I can accomplish some pretty amazing feats. Not because I'm amazing, because I allowed my mind to be open-minded for the possibilities of what can I achieve. It takes the growth in your mental aspect, in your spiritual, everything grows because you start feeling better about yourself. Not many things on the planet make you feel good about yourself like getting after it, doing